All right, so in this example, this is Aussie yen 60-minute time frame. Now let's take a look at this one again. If we're gonna be looking at sells, then we need to first find out where the buy ended. So higher high, higher low sequences. As this higher high, higher low sequences says they're done, and they started collapsing, and they got lower and lower. Here is the breach right there. But once it breached that, he got down to this low, but then after that, he never made a lower low. He came back. So notice this is how far he got, and then he came back. So there is no more breaches. This is not a breach here because price got to this far and made a record of this is how far it got. So this is the movement he made, but he came right back. And all of this is not making a lower low from that. Right? He's not making lower lows from that. So it still holds, still holds, still holds. The line maintains right there. And the guy responsible is that fella. Okay? It's a big one, isn't it? It's massive. It's massive. So got to keep an open mind for stuff like this. So let's redraw this. Keep it clean. Like, here we go. That's the fella right there. And we're watching this as it starts to develop momentum. So he's going up, going up, going up. Comes down, tries to make a lower low, what looks like a lower low, and this could be still a faker, right? This could still be a faker. It could be a news event that looks very large on this charting software, TradingView, but it might be different on your broker. So make sure to check that sometimes. A big spike sometimes is not real. Okay? So when you're looking at stuff like this, you can be like, well, if that's the case, well, that breach happened next was here. That's the breach where the next phase happened, so you can be right over there then. So, but anyways, we'll leave that here for now. Leave that here for now and saying this is all overall seller's territory. Okay? I'm going to put it like that. That's the big flow. In this big flow, we got sellers coming in, holding, coming in, holding, 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 holding. Here comes the buyer stepping in. Here comes the buyers, goes higher, pulls back, no higher high, no higher high, breaches, makes the higher high, little mini, let me draw that purple line, orange line, gets a higher high, holds it, no higher high, no higher high, no higher high, collapse. Okay, so the sellers are back. Now the collapse happened very, very hard. We see the buyers attempt one more time with no luck and failure, and we know all of this collapse had a breach here, so it's all miniature seller's area as well. Okay, miniature seller area right there. Now, his lowest point that the miniature seller area made was here, which means any of the price here never went lower. So, and anything below here is seller's area in the context of a big seller's area. Okay, hang in with there. Hang in with me there. Don't get lost here. Okay, pause it if you have to, rewind it, watch it again if you have to. In this whole concept, we're starting to now see, wait a minute, look at these deep pullbacks coming in. Look at these attempts to make lower lows, but they barely make it. They barely make it, so it's like, okay, we're getting a momentum starting to come in. We're starting to see our lines developing. Sorry, right there. Starting to see our lines developing. We got a little bit of poke outs and stuff like that, but we're starting to see our area developing. Now, what about our lower end? Do I draw my line like that? Or do I draw my line something like that? Let me lower it a little bit and say, what if that's my low? Well, then we're working with the squeeze again. Damn, squeezes all over the place, right? We're working with the squeeze again. So the whole point is, a channel or a squeeze or a range, make sure you have that one concept down is which direction you want to go. Don't mess that up. 2, if you know that which direction you want to go, you also want to know how close am I to one of these edges, whether it's the top edge or the bottom edge. Okay? And you're looking at momentum because you don't want to get in too early and then later on you find out, oh, it's not a downtrend line like we discussed in the previous video. It's a freaking range. It's like that. That high never happened. It just slightly jumped up and came back down immediately. So that can happen too. So you got to be very, very cautious and very, very slow about this thing. Okay? But you know it's a miniature sell area here. and you know that you've drawn it for now as a downtrend, like that. Voila. Okay? So you're looking at this as, okay, we're approaching this area. Let's watch it carefully to see what happens to it. So you see buyers coming in finally after the seller gets exhausted with no lower lows, comes back 90%, tries again, no lower low, and then he's dead. Okay, so now it's the buyer's momentum. The buyers crushed this area by breaching this zone. Let's do some little buyer zone here. There we go. Little buyer zone there. Makes a nice higher high, pulls back, no higher high, and then he starts to roll over, roll over, roll over, boom. So it's like now we got an opportunity to see the sellers are back, but we are here. Okay, so what's going on in your mind right now? Is that a good trade or not? What would you say? I can't hear you. No, I'm just kidding. No, if you are saying it's too risky, that is correct. That is correct. It is too risky there. Don't take risks when it comes to trading. Try to avoid risks. Limit the risks as much as you can. If you chase money, you will lose money. If you control risk, you automatically make money. Automatically. It's like a side effect. Okay? So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Controlling risk is a money magnet. Okay? But chasing money is dangerous. It's actually a money repeller, if you want to call it. So, all right. So when you see stuff like this, so you start to understand that, okay, I get to see that I have a sell coming up, so on and so forth. Now, you might be asking, Naveen, this is the second time that we had a squeeze and the trade just runs away. Is there not a way to grab it in a fine-tuned way? Okay, is there not a way to do that? And the answer to that is yes, there is a way to do that as well. However, we're not going to touch base on it so well. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the door. This is the Pandora's box. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to point to you of how else I would look at it. And your brain would automatically put all the education you've learned so far and figure it out. Okay? So how else I would look at it, instead of looking at it in a large scale in this cell coming in, we also notice we've made no lower lows in this concept here, but at the same time, whenever we started making breaches from here, the first breach, we also made no lower lows. I'm going to put the first breach here for the sell side. Here's the first breach, comes down, holds, and then he comes down, he breaches again, but that's not a real breach because he comes right back up. He breaches again, that's not a real breach because he comes right back up. I extend this out. Well, what are we working with? We're working with a range. And while working with a range, when I start to see no higher highs and a slowdown, I take my attempts from here. Because now things line up. Make sense? So, a little bit more risky, a little bit more aggressive. When you do stuff like this, you need high control on money management. Highly controlled money management, which means your regular trades that you do might be, let's say, 7, 8 standard lots. But when you might do something like this, you're like, okay, let's bump it down to like 3 or 2 standard lots. Again, there's a whole thing on money management. I got a course on that as well. But for money management, you want to control when you have risks and like that. You want to reduce risk in moments like these. Okay? So this pretty much ends the examples and lessons for channels. Hope this was very powerful and useful. I know channels are probably the easiest ones, but at the same time they can be annoying as hell too when it's not a channel, it's a squeeze. Okay? So let's get that right. Channels are basically the ones that have very deep pullbacks. Think of the pullbacks that are going in like 61.8, 80% pullbacks, 90% pullbacks. Those are the ones that turn into the most beautiful channels. Why? Before we end this video, why? Why are these channels such a good trading technique? Because when they pull back in so deep, people forget the original direction. And people start looking at this as, dude, it's a buy. Okay? So it's wonderful when that happens because they'll look at generic stuff, right? Oh, my support equals resistance was broken. He's going higher, it's a buy. So what do? They participate by hitting the buy right there, but what happens? Major stop loss. And they're sitting there saying, I don't know what happened. And then later on, they might draw a downtrend line, like, oh, okay, it's a downtrend. But they're still oblivious of what happened. All they're doing is just they're using little bits and pockets of knowledge and connecting dots, right? We're gonna change that for you. We're gonna change that for you, where you're not that person just connecting dots all the time. You know what's happening in the market. Okay, so excellent. So far, so good. I think the way we've been doing the videos, the way we've been seeing progress and everything, I think you guys are doing okay so far. If there's any questions, please use the comments in below the videos. However, repeat after me one more time. This is not hard. This is easy. Again, this is not hard. This is easy. Okay? We're going to make you skilled and give you the mastery you need by the end of this course. Let's continue to the next lesson, which is trends.